Hi, my name is Allison, and I had no idea what radon was or is. My aunt lived with us for 10 years, and it came on actually really suddenly, this tickle that she had in her chest. They thought it might be pneumonia, so they started her on antibiotics, and there were x-rays and there were scans, and then one day they told us that my non-smoking, really mostly asymptomatic aunt had stage 4 lung cancer. She was gone by the end of the summer, and and honestly for us it just didn't make sense. Like, lung cancer? 6 months later, my son, who was in civil engineering, he came home with this little piece of plastic, and he told me that he was putting it in a room and that I needed to leave it there for 3 months. He had read about radon in one of his textbooks, and I started reading up on it. I ended up getting a digital reader and discovered that our radon levels in our house were between 200 and 220 in the basement. And then while we were taking a deep dive into what radon is, we started testing the rest of our house. And because we had forced air, the top floor of our house was actually averaging the same number as the basement. And that meant that we had all been equally exposed to this radiation, essentially. What we learned about radiation is that you can't change what you didn't know and what you might have been exposed to in the past. But by being aware, you can take charge and you can put an end to it moving forward. We had a radon fan that we installed in our basement that brought our numbers down to almost nothing within 24 hours. There was no way, we have no way of knowing, really honestly, if my aunt had been exposed to radon before the decade she lived with us, but it was so important to me to take what we learned from our experience to raise awareness. Most people in my life were like me. We had no clue. I was lending my tester out all over the place. But then I found this Take Action A Radon program where they gave our community 100 test kits, and they found that 45% of those who tested had high radiation levels, like higher than mine, levels that absolutely needed mitigation. It's been 2 years since we started doing that testing, and I am never going to stop advocating. I can't tell you how many of my friends, how many of their friends, how many family members of friends who have been able to put an end to this, because people are talking about it now. Canadian homes have radon, and you can't know unless you test for it. But if you find it, it can so easily be fixed. And I hope my story, my whole mission now is to share my story so that, others, are not going to be in the same situation as we were, where we lost somebody who really mattered to us, maybe that could have changed or been different, but maybe it's experiences like those that can help others to not live what we lived.